Today we're going to be talking about the many tools that are out there for your dog. Hi, I'm Zoran. I help people change their habits so they can change their dog's habits. Okay, first we're going to talk about the different collars and halties and harnesses that are out there. I'm open to all tools as long as they're used humanely. Self-correcting collars, prong collars, pinch collars. The tool that's going to hurt the dog is the person or yourself not being able to control your emotions. So if you can control your emotions and you can use a tool humanely, all tools are good tools. They really only help you 20% anyways. The tool that we're going to start with is one that there's a lot of questions about, is the prong collar, pinch collar, or training collar. A lot of people might think this is abusive and some people think this is amazing. It all depends on how you use it. Some of the dogs respond well to this collar and some of the dogs don't. So depending on your situation and the type of dog that you have. Some of the tools are very visual and some of the tools are not. But you know how we are very visual people. Just because it doesn't look good doesn't mean it's not good. So today we're going to use Benny and we're going to try a couple different tools on Benny to see what works best for him. So we're going to try, this is a prong collar, pinch collar, self-correcting collar. We're going to put this on Benny to show you if you're going to use one of these collars, how to use it and in what position it should go on. I know, buddy. Let's see. So it would go around his neck and it would have to go just below his jawline. If it goes any lower, then it's going to hit his trachea. And if it hits his trachea, then it's going to hurt him. So right here. So this is where this collar would go. Right along his jawline, this is where the muscle is. Right down here is usually the trachea. This is where we don't want to use this tool. Now, if I can control myself and I don't jerk and yank him really hard, it's a great tool. It's just that some people will use this tool and get upset with the dog and start dragging the dog around. So when you use this tool, this is as hard as I'm going to pull with Benny. That's it. Good job. So this tool works very well with Benny. If I was to put a harness or a halty, something around his nose for Benny, this just doesn't work. Benny also responds well to a slip lead. So every time we put a tool on the dog and off the dog, we always pet the dog. We're trying to teach the dog, good job, this is what I like. You did a good job. I know, Benny, you did a good job. So a slip lead is just sort of like a rope and a collar all at the same time. Goes around his neck, along his jawline. It's always along the jawline, and the tab pulls down so it stays there. Good job. But this tool is a little bit different to use than some of the other tools because this tool doesn't have a stopper on it. It goes all the way, and if you don't use it properly, you could choke the dog. That's why it stays right here. This is also called a dominant dog collar as a collar, which I will show you in a minute. Good job. So when I walk him around, when I use this tool, right? Sit. Good job. So this tool is only helping me 20%. It's not going to stop him from doing things, but it's going to help me. During the daytime is the other 80% of the time that's going to actually fix the dog versus the tool. The tool is just going to help me. I know, buddy. Good job. Some people might think that they can use a regular collar on the dog. What happens to the collar on the dog is if they use it, it slips down here, and as they put a leash on here, it pushes on the trachea. So the dog is actually choking from here. But this collar looks better than some of the other collars. It's more about how effective it is and if it works for you, okay? Good job, buddy. There's another tool out there. There's a halty. A lot of people use the tools. Just because I don't use this tool doesn't mean it's not good. I just don't find that it works for me. So the way this tool goes on is, it goes around his nose, and then the back part goes on like a collar. It's almost like a muzzle and a collar at the same time. Okay, and then this will hook up to the collar, and then the leash is hooked up here, like this. Come on. So some of the dogs, as you can see with Benny, when you pull, the theory is that this will close his mouth or control him with his nose, like you would a horse from the bottom down. But sometimes when you pull up, it might go in their eyes, and sometimes it does put a ring around their nose. As you can see, Benny, once he has this on, now he's being more resistant. See? So he wants to get off. So for him, this tool may not work. So it's not that this tool is bad, it's just that this tool for Benny doesn't work. So I should be open to most tools. It depends on my situation and my dog. So for him, this would not be a good tool. But that doesn't mean it's not a good tool for your dog. It just means for Benny, it doesn't work. This is Freddie. For this tool that works with Freddie, it's a harness. So we're going to use him to demonstrate how his harness works. There are a lot of different harnesses out there. There's ones that clip in the front, clip in the side, that clip in the back, no pull harnesses, all that kind of stuff. It all depends on what works for you. So we're going to get Freddie to sit. Good job. And some of the harnesses can be a little bit complicated. Remember that the ring on this one that Freddie has, this is where the leash clips on, so that would go in the front. When we put it around his neck, it goes like this. Okay. And then this clips underneath him. And there's a clip at the side, which clips on. You would take the clip from your leash and clip it to the front. So for Freddie, this works amazing for him. See? Sit. Good job. Freddie wouldn't need a prong collar, pinch collar, self-correcting collar, dominant dog collar, slip lead. The harness works great for him. He responds well to it, and for him, it's very comfortable. Also, this harness here sort of goes around his legs, and when he pulls, it sort of tightens on his chest so he doesn't pull. So this is one of those harnesses where they call it a no-pull harness, which clips to the front. So the first thing we would do is we would have to try different tools that the dog responds with. So before we try any of those prong collars or some of the slip leads, we would go with maybe try a harness first, then a halter or something around his nose, and then you would work your way up to different kind of tools. But you have to try different tools before you know what tool works for you. So some people will suggest, oh, you go right to a prong collar or something. What about all the other tools that might work before you get to that point? So it's more about you trying and what you're comfortable with, because not everybody's comfortable with some of the tools. It's more about what you're comfortable with to be able to use that tool. And for Freddie, the harness works great for him. Good job, buddy. When you're using a harness, you're trying to control the dog from the strongest part of his body. And a lot of dogs, it doesn't work. And also, when you are using a harness, mentally, some people might pull harder because they're pulling around the chest and shoulders. So when they pull on the harness and they get used to pulling that hard, they'll put the dog on the collar and they'll start using the same force as they would with the harness, and that's what hurts the dog. It's not the collar that's hurting the dog or that's choking the dog. It's the way you're using it. You can't use the same force as you would on the harness, because the harness is going around his chest and shoulders. If you use it too hard, the dog will have chest and shoulder injuries. So there are some people that I see that use a harness and they're pulling and dragging the dog and jerking the dog around, and I'll say, hey, wait a minute here, why don't you try a different collar on the dog? And the first thing they'll usually say is, well, I don't want to hurt the dog because something around its neck is going to hurt the dog. It's not the collar that's going to hurt the dog. It's the way I use the collar that's going to hurt the dog. I'm here to educate you on how to use different tools. The final decision is yours on what tool works for you and your dog and your personality. For me, I'm open to all tools as long as they're used humanely and you use them in the proper way. Hey, Freddie, you did a good job. I know, buddy. Some dogs respond very well and some dogs don't. Also, depending on your frustration level, because you're already frustrated that what you're doing isn't working. So you would try different tools. First we will try, like let's say if I'm going to try a halter or a gentle leader on Freddie, and just to see how he responds. So Freddie could be one of those dogs that he's good with any tool. So if he's good with any tool, then you would use whatever you're more comfortable with. But for him, see, as soon as I put the halter on him, I mean, he's already, you know, he wants to open his mouth, he's sort of struggling, his paws. So for me, rather than, I mean, it would take probably about a week or two before he would get used to it. It just depends on your dog. And I understand that when I put it on him the first few minutes, he's not gonna be comfortable with it. That's why when clients come in here, we try different tools on the dog and we see what the client is more comfortable with. And once they become comfortable, then they become more confident. So it's more about being confident than anything. If you're confident, the tool that you're using is going to be a good tool. The main tool that's going to fix Freddie is the person. Good job. I know, buddy. So this is Austin. We're going to demonstrate that for Austin, sometimes smaller dogs, they might have a trachea problem. And usually it's recommended that a small dog be put on a harness. So Austin probably would respond to a harness, but for him, using his regular collar might work just for him. He doesn't need any gentle leaders, halters, prong collars, all that kind of stuff. For Austin, just a collar might work. Let's see, come on. Okay, come on. That's it, good boy. I know, buddy, it's okay, good job. Sit. Good job. I would probably use just a regular collar to teach him some basic commands around the house. I know, buddy, it's okay. He responds well to just a collar. Maybe a harness for Austin, but some of the other tools, I'm not sure if that would work, or you would need to use that tool on Austin. If you would need to control him more, there are plastic versions of different collars. Maybe you could use one of those collars. I would start with Austin using his regular collar to see how that worked with him. And then from this collar, I might put a harness on him. But for some of the other dogs, the bigger dogs and the more gladiator type of dogs, using a collar may not work because they're more bigger and powerful now and you might need some more help. Right, Austin? Right. The slip lead, you can use a slip lead on him, but you don't really need to. His collar works amazing right now. If you want more information regarding leash control, please click here. I know there are a lot of different types of tools and we've only touched on a few of them today. If you have any questions regarding a specific tool, a harness, or collar, just leave them in the comments or questions below. All the tools are good. Don't be hesitant to try different tools because one of the tools that you might not try might be the right tool for you. Just remember, one of the hardest things to do when you work with dogs is to control your emotions. The tool that's going to fix the dog is me. The tool that's going to hurt the dog is me losing control of myself. Other than that, the tool is not the thing that's going to hurt the dog or correct the dog. It's going to help you. Well, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Good job, buddy. I know, it's okay.